Hey everybody, Jeremy here. Hopefully you can hear me, and we're all doing well. YouTube delays the start of any one of the live streams for about 10 to 20 seconds. So I'm just glancing at my monitor, making sure that I'm live, and it looks like I am. So hi everyone. So today is Monday, March 23rd, and I literally just finished up a meeting at CBT Nuggets where we're just saying, hey, let's kind of lay out our game plan for the week. One of the big discussions was the Encore series, and we're laying out assignments and timelines for that. We've been recording that for about a month now or so. It's got 5 different trainers in it, and we're doing that. So I thought, you know what, just to get my blood flowing as I'm getting ready to teach some of that content. I thought I'd do a live stream and get any of your questions. So this is truly a spontaneous ask me anything sort of thing. So chat in if you have any questions on the side, and I'll start taking them as I see them. Feel free to chat them in, and we can talk about it. So first off, Matt, hi. Chat in where you're from too. That always gives me context as we're in the midst of this. This crazy COVID-19 dilemma, and so it's just fun. It's fun to see where people are from and kind of relate that to what I know is going on in the world like that. So I'll grab IT Soldier. You never talk about your consulting business. It's actually so IT Soldier running a consulting business versus becoming a senior network engineer architect. Where can you make money? Good question. And a big question there. So if you're looking for quick money, or I should say faster money, so I gotta look away from the chat. America, I see your question. So I'll get to that one next. So I'm gonna look away from the chat for just a minute so I can focus on this. Where can you make money? So first off, the business that I started is not a consulting business. It may have started. No, actually, it didn't start that way at all. So let me go back in time in the history of Jeremy. I've always had a consulting company, so that's probably what you're thinking, IT Soldier, is that would most relate to you, and that's where I would go out to organizations and I would help them with their network. I would help them with I'm a Windows guy as well, Windows Server. I would do all kinds of. I was kind of like a handyman of IT, if you will. I would come and do anything, and a lot of times that's where you do the typical hourly rate, to where it's like I make back then $50 an hour, $100 an hour, whatever your rate is, and the lower your rate goes, often the more people will refer you and all that. It's that game. So starting your own consulting business, way different than starting I would say a real, is going to sound bad, a real business with people, employees, and all that kind of stuff. So consulting business, there's going to be a learning curve no matter what you're doing, because there's going to be okay, how do I find customers? Okay, I got my first one. Is this for real? Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm sweating this. You'll go through that, but then at that point, once you get a good base of customers going, it's just referrals. If you do a good job, you're going to get referred, and it's just X dollars an hour that you'll end up charging. Starting a real company, and again, don't hear me downplaying consulting businesses when I say a real company. I'm talking employees, way different and a lot more longer game plan. So that's the company that I started was VIA. This is actually a rebrand of it. It was originally called School Desk US. And the way I came into that business is I actually worked with an organization in the Netherlands. I was connected through them through a long, fun story of events. They were breaking off the U.S. business to where they're kind of like, it's not working well, we're done. I came in and I said, well, why don't I take it over? So there was some exchange there, and I took it over, and that was where I was like, okay, I got to hire an employee. And that was where, wow, learning curve of being a business owner took hold. And so a lot of pain, a lot of loss initially, and growing that up until it finally found its rhythm, until I found some really good people. And it's at that point, and that's why I say it's a completely different mindset when you run your own company, which relies on the people that are in it. at that point, it's no longer so much your skill set at all. Your skill set is pretty much being the jack of all trades and finding people that are better than you. And thankfully, in the last few years, I've done that. There are people that are smarter than me technically. There are people that are smarter than me business sense. I'm just kind of like okay. Here's what we need to do there. Let's go that way. Oh, what do you think? So it's a lot of meetings, a lot of setting the course there. So starting your own business of that mindset is a lot longer term game plan with profit. So again, IT Soldier, I could probably talk hours about that, but hopefully that gives you some mindset on that. So America, hello. My wife wanted to say hi, and to your wife. My wife's name is Peggy, and she was let go from the Office Dental. Hey, Peggy! Oh my gosh, I had no idea that happened. I'm so sorry. But Peggy, you are amazing, and you will have no problem finding a job anywhere because you are so yes. My wife is Susan, and that's our dentist, and Peggy is probably the friendliest, most amazing woman I've ever met in a dentist office. So hi, Peggy. Thank you for that. Mason, I know you get this question a lot, but being stuck inside, I'm getting a little impatient. Any news on the release time for the Encore course? So that was actually the topic of the meeting I just came from. I'm not allowed to say anymore. I used to say, probably the end of April. But I guess people are starting to quote that. He said the end of, so you need to talk with CBT Nuggets, contact them, and they will tell you about a time estimate. We're actually, to give you a behind the scenes, we're meeting this afternoon on that. So more news on that, maybe this afternoon, maybe probably by the end of this week. Okay. So hello, Kahil. Shadow Strike 1. Now that you've taken the exam, do you think there's anything that you would like to add to the CBT course? I know you said it felt like it covered most things, but maybe there's something else. So talking about the CCNA exam, and I also see I have so CBT Nuggets has a Slack community where anybody can join and chat about it. You might check out the website and join in there. I'm glancing at some of the questions from there on Daryl, for example, is chatting in on there. So I'll kind of combine a little of that. The CCNA exam is a lot easier than I thought it would be. And the reason for that is they've cut out all simulations. There are no simulations anymore. It's all just, multiple choice. Do you know the answer? A drag and drop question where you kind of match up things is about as advanced as the test gets. So it's a lot of questions. It's 102 questions. And I've heard the Encore exam is exactly the same. 102 questions, no simulations. It's just kind of like blaze through it. So does the CBT Nuggets course prepare you for that? Yes, it does, and then some. That's where I was like, man, if I would have known CBT Nuggets would have, not CBT Nuggets, Cisco would be taking this approach to their format. Would I have done things differently? I don't know, because I can't help but train people to really be successful rather than memorize like the fact list. But it's a lot more memorizing to get CCNA. It's not as rich of an exam as it used to be. Still valuable certification, but. Yeah, different. So is the MCSA worth going for? This is Frank. Going for the knowledge, or should I just jump right into the cloud? I completed my CCNA in February. I would go straight for the cloud. Azure, AWS, one of those certifications. On-prem servers are going to be around for decades, but it's fading. A lot of folks are now going, I'm going Azure all the way. I'm going Office 365, Google Cloud, all that. So the cloud is where I would focus your efforts. And by the way, Vinod from India, he says, I love you for changing the timing of your live stream. It's because of you that I actually did this. I had the thought this morning, folks in India are tuning into my live streams in the afternoon at like 3 in the morning, and Vinod told me that. So yes, you're the reason I decided to do this morning, kind of on the fly. Matt, working from home, Oklahoma City, nice. How do you think all of the remote work? How do you think all of the remote work during the COVID-19 pandemic will change the technology world or the business world in general after this is all over? Good, big question there. Essentially, how will COVID-19 and everybody going home, working from home, schools distance, how will that change the world? I'm an optimist, if you haven't guessed. I'm kind of going, okay, once we make it through the economic impact of what just happened, it's going to be pretty amazing. And what I mean by that, like for instance, I have a friend who owns a bunch of Denny's restaurant, Denny's franchises. And I talked to him, he's like, this is scary. Like all of he's got 30 some restaurants. All of them have been closed. There's no delivery, for a week. He's like, employees are walking. Like what's the so from one sense, I'm like, man, there's going to be like a wham economic impact, I think, to all of this. But I'm seeing new ways of working like emerging so fast. Like schools are like, now with haste and urgency, cutting out a lot of the bureaucratics and processes, because it's like we have to, like, business has stopped. So what I see is a lot of innovation where people are just leapfrogging normal processes because everybody's like, process is out the window, So in one sense, it's like, that's not good. Well, it kind of is sometimes to just be like, okay, let's get to going and see what happens. So in that sense, Matt, I kind of see a lot of folks, I have a feeling by the time it's said and done, you're going to see a lot more remote workers. You're going to see a lot more teleconferencing. You're going to see a lot more video chats, things like that, because it's going to force people to get used to it in a hurry that wouldn't be motivated to otherwise. So that's, I could talk a lot more on that one too, but that's a great question. Apollo, hi Jeremy, I want to be a network engineer. Whoa, a bunch of chats just came in and shut that right off the screen. Give me a sec. Apollo, I want to be a network engineer after high school. Should I start studying now or wait till I'm after high school? I am all about studying right now. I mean, jump on CBT Nuggets, grab the CCNA course, and get to going. There are people graduating high schools with CCNA. That's like a norm now. It used to be like, but that's a norm. So don't wait till you finish high school, especially if you're really having fun with it. Like, set up your house, for a pretty sweet home network. That's how if you want to know how I started in the network world, that was it. This was before I was married. I had my own house. I had roommates. I mean, different world than I'm in right now. But literally, I ran Ethernet cable through the hallways. I mean, voice over IP was just coming out then, and I was like, oh, let me set up my house for voice over IP phones. Wireless was just coming out then. I mean, this is dating myself, right? Like wow, Wi-Fi from the couch. This is amazing. I outfitted my entire house with a ton of eBay Cisco equipment. So no reason you have to wait till after high school for that. I can't pronounce that. AYK icon. It's like an icon. Which product do you prefer for syslog server? For a quick and dirty syslog server, I use TFTPD32. TFTP server. TFTPD32 has a built-in syslog server that if you just want to get some quick log messages, bam, there you go. If you want to go big, then go Splunk. But you're looking like a day of setup just to get that going. So Ayab, so sorry, I'm butchering names. I'm just taking a stab. I work in Wi-Fi improvement. Of some site with Ekahau. I have not sufficient knowledge in wireless Cisco. Need a certification for that. Can you give me some free support course, please? No. sorry, my friend. There is tons of wireless resources over at CBT Nuggets. I can't give those out for free yet. Maybe someday. Mr. Chara, I just got my CCNA in February, Jack. My job is letting me play with networks, but I am not getting paid too well. Should I stay and get the experience, or should I strictly apply to new net jobs? Both. So first off, stay where you're at, get the experience, and getting paid for experience that's liquid gold. What you will gain in growth, so much more than just money, right? Like so in one sense, I'm kind of like, post for the jobs, but I mean your company is kind of helping you out, so I would be kind of transparent with them and be like, hey, I'm not making that much right now. I really can you help me? So I'm talking to you as someone who's had many employees, and it kills me. I've always, talking from the employee perspective, it's totally different than thinking from an employer. As an employer, you invest in that person, you train that person, you try and help that person, and all of a sudden one day they're like, I'm out of here. You're like, really? Like that's, yeah, like I get it, but have a conversation with me before. Like why? Like if it was just money, then maybe we could have talked. Maybe we could have figured something out. Don't feel like you can't talk to them. So talk to them. Just be like, hey, I'm not making much. I'm starting to get into networking. Can we outline a path that I can go? But I would say, meanwhile, post other jobs as well. Get the experience. Kind of do both, right? I love options. I'm all about an options guy. Let me actually jump to the CBT chat. I just want to take Daryl's because it's been sitting there for a while. I'm trying to go through CCNA. I literally bought new product to do the training, but I can't seem to get this straight. I'm trying to get my switch set up for VLAN switching. I can't set, and he's got some configuration commands. It's giving him some invalid input detected. The market, what's going on? That so. Let me actually here. Let me try this. Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna. I can't. I was gonna share the screen. So there's a syntax error. You got it, Daryl. It's a syntax error. The spacing on the interface range command is off. You try playing with the spacing. Interface range fast Ethernet 0/1 space dash space 2. Like add spaces in between the dashes. You're on your way. So I won't screen share that. All right, back to the YouTube questions. Let's see. Okay, where am I? Oh, there we go. Dubon. How can a person who is new to IT find his way into network design? 2, is there a way to connect a home lab to a simulator on the PC for more advanced topologies? Yes and yes. So answer to question 2 is yes. There's a bajillion GNS3 tutorials out there on how you can get your simulated environment to connect to the real environment. It won't perform, don't use that as like your home router or something like that, but you can get it to access the outside internet world. Yeah, so that's enough on that. Second question, how can you find your way into network design? Network design is a unique pickle. And what I mean by that is you don't have to have a ton of grit experience, like configuring devices, to do network design, but you have to have a really good mindset for what's needed. They used to have the CCDA certification. They did away with that. I'm sure they're going to come out with some new salesy sort of certification, but it's really all about the design aspect is often about learning what equipment does what capacities it has, and then just matching up the customer need to that. Okay, let's do some network monitoring. What do you have for that? So how do you get from new to IT into design? Tough question, because usually you have to have some experience like watching it all work to then take a step back and go, okay, now let me put the puzzle pieces together. But they are two radically different worlds. You can be a CCIE and still not know how to design a network well. That's more of the grit and config. So how to get from new to design, I would just, with the CCDA gone, I'd have to find out what the replacement is for the CCDA certification. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. Next question, Salim. I've completed / recertified in CCNA in early February, old CCNA version. What does it require for me to open a Cisco Academy? I have the building, I have the lab. Whoo! Whoo! So how do I create, I'm going to rephrase that to how do I create a training center? I wouldn't, if based on where you're at, unless you just want to start small. Okay. First off, if I were you, I would go find a company that is already a Cisco training center and be like, hey, I can train in this. And so that's a lot easier. And the reason why I say that is there is a metric ton of logistics in figuring out where's our building, how am I going to power this, do I get labs for everybody? Okay, students are here, they can't, I'm missing an iOS. There's so much logistics that nobody thinks of in starting your own training center. That has nothing to do with Cisco at all, right? So I would say number one recommendation would be go be with the training center, find a training center and join them. If you can't, then I would start it as a study group. I would say, hey guys, I'm gonna have a free study group. Come on over, see how things go. Start getting people that, for lack of better words, I'll use a social media word, follow you. Get them to follow you for free. After the 10th meeting, be like, hey, I think I'm going to make this something, and kind of go from that. I'd grow it organically rather than say, I want to start a training center, where's the building, so something like that. Although right now you can't meet anywhere. I can't even go have coffee with a friend with the state of the world right now. So you might want to wait a bit on doing that. So how do you pronounce your last name? That says Jesse, Chara. It's actually Romanian, not Italian like most people think. But you can take the Italian like CIO Chow, like Chara, or I say charcoal with an A, Chara. Alex, when will Encore be released? I mentioned that as already. Talk to CBT Nuggets. I'm not allowed to say a date like the end of April, maybe beginning of May. That I wouldn't say that anymore. So Fitu, do you think it hurts people by not having simulates? No, but it changes the mindset. So talking about the CCNA, there are no simulations on the new CCNA exam. Does that hurt people? I would say for people like me, it's a lot harder to stay focused on the exam. I'm like, when it brings up a simulation, I'm like, yes, something I can do and troubleshoot. Whereas the exam I took was more of like, okay, click next, click that. I'm like, I'm an hour in, just like fatigued from just rote memorization kind of questions. So I think that but there are some people who are way better test takers than me. They will like the new CCNA way better than having one with simulators, because simulators are not very test-like. Personally, if I could have the perfect world, the CCNA would be like a miniature version of the CCIE, where you come in and literally the whole thing is a lab. Like you get like 5 questions to get you started, and then you're configuring a network. Can you really do it? That's how I would do the CCNA if it were all up to me. But obviously there's a ton of logistics along with that. What time is it? 9:50. So I'm planning to go till 10 o'clock. I was just like, hey, I'm gonna just do a 30-minute off the cuff, ask me anything. So John, hey, would you say it's better to build a data center from nothing and migrate back to AWS, or stick with AWS to help control costs? So good question, and we're wrestling with that question right now. When I started my company, which is VIA, we went straight into a data center because AWS was still in its infancy. I wouldn't say infancy. It was just like you just did that. Like that was the thing. So now here we are in 2020, and we're wrestling with it because AWS and Azure, if you're already into a data center, way more expensive than doing a data center yourself. But the convenience of AWS and Azure, I mean, they can throw cost modeling, all that. Now, it's situational as well. If you're like, I need 500 servers now, and then I won't need them tomorrow, I mean, no brainer, go for AWS Azure. But if you're like, I want a server that's literally going to run for the rest of its life, I'm going to do virtualization on it, and I'm kind of like, I would do your own data center, because to get into a data center, do colo, something like that, way cheaper than AWS and Azure, as long as you're okay maintaining that stuff that's sitting in there. So I'm giving you 10,000 foot answers to questions that could literally be quite deep. One leg, I got your channel recommended to me by a CCNA channel. Great job, thanks. Wondering what the hardest part of the new CCNA test was. For the new CCNA, for me, and it's hard because I have the knowledge, it's just sitting there. It was keeping my focus. But I knowing myself, I would have struggled with that even if I didn't know everything perfectly for the new CCNA. Just because it's just when you see I'm on question 71 out of 102, there's just something that does to your soul where you're just like, really? Like 30 more? Oh, like there's an exam fatigue. I would say that's the hardest part, whether you know it or not. So that said, the nice thing is they're very short questions. Like, you know what you don't, you know what you don't, you know what you don't. It's that kind of feel. A few subnetting questions where you're like, okay, I got to figure this out. But those were kind of exciting because you're like, oh, it's beyond fact checking. Okay, oh, cool, I got it. Like those kind of revitalize you. So them sprinkling those kind of things in there is helpful. Tell Sue I said hi. I will, and I think Peggy, she has your number, so I'm sure she'll send you a text message or something like that. Hope all the kiddos are doing well. Epic, any tips on processing career? I'm currently an ANOC tech, and I recently achieved my CCNA processing career. So you're in a network operations center. You got your CCNA. What now? You're kind of in the mecca of network technology as it stands, a data center. I would say, are there things that I can get into that I can stay at this data center and go deeper? Like maybe instead of just being remote hands or just watching the monitoring screen, maybe I can, I'm always a stay where you are. You got the job, right? So see if there's opportunities there. And if not, then, with your data center experience being a NOC tech, plus CCNA, oh my friend. Well, as of a couple of weeks ago, I would say we're in the best economy of my life until this whole thing hit, right? So right now everything's frozen, nobody's moving right now. So as of 2 weeks ago, I would say write your ticket, go see where you start looking for opportunities. if there's nothing where you're planted right now. But now I'm like, you got me. I'm like, when's this Corona thing gonna go away? So that's it. All right, I'm at 5 minutes left. So let me. I'm gonna try and go as fast as I can because I know I'm not gonna be able to get to all of these questions. And man, they just flew. Hang on, I gotta scroll back up. There's no way I'm gonna get to all these questions. Okay, so I'm still like I'm like 5 pages back in the questions. So let me see if humble opinion, Odell. In my humble opinion, the simulations in the old exam are more tricky than technical in nature. Yes, Samson from Chicago. Yes, some of the things are tricky, and sometimes the simulations have boundaries. So yes, you are right on that. It is about knowing it the Cisco way. Advice for someone who would, this is, I can't read that name, someone who would be on the spot to be a network admin on a medium-sized business. I feel like quitting this career and be a farmer or something. I get it. Like, I get exactly what you're saying. I've had that conversation a great many times with, like, people are like, so should I get into technology? And I'm like, what kind of person are you? Technology is the greatest career in the world, but sometimes it's the most stressful career in the world. Like, there's days where you'll go 48 hours straight, no sleep, network's down, you know, it's your fault, the world thinks, right? Like those days is when it's like, I want to be a farmer. I want to work at Target. I want to do something other than what I'm doing. This is miserable. And then there's days where you're working from home for the, umpteenth week in a row. It's pretty cash. You're learning new things. You figure out new things. You're like, this is pretty cool. So there is no perfect job in technology. So yeah, I mean, I know that doesn't go away. It's like, this is the most amazing career ever. I want to be a farmer. I'm so done with this, so that doesn't go away. So happiest man in the world. Great. Thank you. Good to see you again. Have a new job. Working Wi-Fi. Okay. I think that was the same one. Repeat. I answered that one. I've been doing system admin for 10 years, making 6 figures. Don't like it anymore. I love firewall securities. Any thoughts? Good question. So you're a career changer, but the good news is, so I'll tell you the one where it's really hard. Someone is, I've been in technology. So someone is an accountant and they're making 6 figures and they're like, I'm so done with accounting, right? I want to move into IT. That's a lot harder than what you're talking about. So, because that there's no correlation. It's like, okay, you're going to take a cut unless you just happen to know somebody, right? So if you're going from, I'm like an accountant into IT, you're going to drop down and then build your way back up, maybe in something that you love doing and then making as much or more than an accounting, advanced accounting salary. But when you're a system admin and you want to move into firewalls, security, totally possible to make a jump right over there, especially if you stay with the same company. So I have a lot more thoughts on that, but in sake of time, last couple minutes, I would say yes, totally possible, and I would just start studying it and see what you can do in the sysadmin world that deals with security that can kind of bleed you over there, right? That's my fast answer to that. Cisco, the best way I'm gonna joke. There's a lag. Yes, there is a lag. Have a new job. Same question, 5th time in a row. Can't imagine. I was wishing having live getting feedback and got live notification. I have a question. I don't have someone to force me since, and then it dies. Shima, I'm not sure what you're asking there. Do you believe that after Roland, I think I already answered that one. Okay, so hey, let me do this. I'm going to scroll to the very end. Are you a trad cat? I have no idea what that means. No, I'm not. Hi from Uganda. Hi, Uganda. Tell us your webcam model, please. It is awesome quality. This camera is not a webcam. This camera is actually one I just got over the weekend, and I'm so excited about it. It is a Sony A6400. It's a full DSLR. Yeah, I know. It's great. I'm so thrilled with this camera. So that's it. Which webcam model are you using? It's a Sony. It's not a webcam. It's a DSLR. Hi from Mexico. CCNP collab content. So on content coming out with CBT Nuggets, right now we're taking a new approach. It's multi-instructure. Everybody go after whatever you are excited to do. Because there's so much new content out there. So yes, probably will be. involved in some of the CCNP collab along with Chuck. Chuck is huge at collab. So anyhow, we are at the top of the hour. I was just wanting to get everybody's blood flowing, get just as many questions as I could squeeze in a short amount of time. So guys, thanks. This has been fun, and I will see you again soon.